So, have you ever wanted a zoom optic for airsoft? Because it looks cool and sniper, am I right? But at the same time, airsoft guns don't have that much range unless you really ramp up the FPS and you're not allowed at any field. So is it even worth it to have zoom? Let's find out. What is cracking, you guys? Welcome on back to another video. My name is, of course, Kraken, and today we're gonna be talking about zoom optics. So this is my Tokyo Marui MWS, and it is a gas blowback rifle, and I've kind of somewhat made it into a bit of like a range and accuracy build. There's still some things that need to be done, but overall I am super duper impressed with the accuracy and performance that I'm getting out of this thing, and having the recoil and the 35 round mags is just super realistic, super fun, and I really enjoy the overall experience. Now, going off that, one thing I really wanted to do here was have a zoom optic. Because one, I just kind of wanted to try it out. Two, it looks wicked cool on the gun. This is a T-Eagle sight in particular. This is a LPVO style sight, so it's a low power variable optic. That's what that stands for. I paid around $200 for this particular optic, and it's super clear, and it can hold 0 on anything up to a like 5.56 rounds. So you could use it on a real gun as well. That's something that's important to me because I do have recoil, quite a bit of it. So I need a sight that can hold 0, unlike an AEG or something like that. So yeah, it's nice to have a quality optic, and I feel like this is kind of the first high-end optic I've ever bought. It's super easy to zero in, which I love. You're not twisting little dials with an Allen key or something dumb like on my other sights. You just kind of pop these out and twist, and it gives you a ton of feedback. Really nice. Also, it does have illumination as well. You can do green and red. And this does a 1.2 times zoom to a 6 times zoom. And that's what we're talking about today. What is the point of that? Do you need it? Is it useful? What are some pros? What are some cons? So I kind of have grown up using red dot sights or no sights. That's kind of the way I've always rolled. Of course, I was a bit more of a speed softer last year. I was kind of trying my hand at that sort of stuff. And I did enjoy it for sure. Often I didn't use a sight, or if I did, I sometimes wouldn't even turn it on, or I wouldn't really spend the time to zero it in, or whatever. But over the last little while, I've really found the value in dialing in your optic. It really is useful. I've always thought, you know, I'm not gonna take my time to aim down sights. It just takes too much time, and I could just be shooting at my target. That was kind of my theory. And just watching my BBs, seeing where they're going, you know, just kind of firing like this and just kind of seeing where they're going and making little adjustments. And that's fine, that's an okay way to play. But I have really found the benefits of dialing in your optic and yeah, taking one shot to take out your opponent instead of 5. Sure, it might take a fraction of a second more for you to get on target by just, you know, pulling up your sight, but that given time means you're gonna have to put less rounds down range. You save money in BBs, which is kind of nice. And you're also just more accurate in terms of where your shots are landing. You know exactly where your shot is gonna go each time. So that's why I really like optics. I've kind of made that shift to only using optics, making sure that they're dialed in and whatnot there. So then I got this sight a while back actually, and I haven't really used it because I've been playing mostly at Siege Airsoft, which is a CQB field. And something like this, I would not recommend for a CQB field. Some obvious reasons why. It is big, it is bulky, and heavy. That is the #1 reason why I would not use it. Could you use it? Sure. You can go up on the 2nd floor, they've got 2nd floors there, and you could, you know, have some fun with that. You totally could. That's not my particular play style. I like to be aggressive and in the action. So this is coming off my gun the second I go into CQB. If we move to outdoors or something with a bit more range, this sight can be actually quite useful, and I have found it to be. I think personally the best use for a sight like this was an example. You'll see some footage on the screen right now. We were out a couple days ago just for some quick private games with some buddies of mine. Nothing spectacular. We just kind of went out last minute. And yeah, we would have like, you know, 2 guys go hide in the woods and then the other 2 guys come and try to find them. Super basic game mode, hide and seek with guns, right? But being the attackers trying to find these guys buried out in the woods, it's next to impossible. They're super camo, they're hidden, you know, you're just looking for any sort of movement or any sort of giveaway. And something like this was actually incredibly useful to play hide and seek with. I could punch it in to 6x zoom and scan around each little individual area before we would move. We'd move to a new position, I'd scan again, clear. All right, we move to another position, scan, clear. I found it to be super duper effective. So for finding opponents, it is very, very useful, and confirming IDs and whatnot as well. If there's a teammate really far up there and you're like, oh, is he on my team? You can, you know, punch in, zoom in a little bit more than you normally would. Oh, okay, yeah, he's got an armband. Okay, he's a friendly. And then you punch back out and then you move in and go provide him support. Stuff like that, I think a variable optic is super duper useful, and just to have a little bit of zoom is kind of nice. Also, for tracking your shots, it's actually kind of nice as well. One thing that kind of doesn't really apply too much to this because it's got recoil. I do still find it hard when you're zoomed in, you're at like 4x zoom and you're shooting and you're hopping all over the place. Just because the fact that you're recoil, and then when you magnify that, you've all of a sudden got 4x the recoil than just this, if that makes sense. 4x zoom, your recoil management is amplified by 4x, if that makes sense. So it's a little hard to track BBs then, but if you're using HPA or AEG, you're gonna have a laughing time. You can just sit there and watch your BBs just hit their targets, and also confirm your hits and that sort of thing. Super nice for that as well. Yeah, it's just nice being able to see where your BBs are going, because oftentimes we can be sitting back there with our red dot sights and we're shooting, and you know, you think you're hitting the person, but you're totally not. Your BBs are dropping like literally a foot before they hit their target. So with this, you kind of don't have that issue. Now for me, I find the best zoom range is around 3x. That's kind of my favorite zoom. Anything more than that, it's just, we just don't have the range for Airsoft, in my opinion, especially with this gun. This gun's only shooting about 300 FPS. Now I know that sounds stupid low, and you're like, what on earth? Why are you using a 300 FPS gun outside? It's a Tokyo Marui, it's dumb accurate. I have just as much range and accuracy with this thing at 300 FPS than I do with my HPA gun at like 380 FPS. This thing's ridiculous. I do need to up the FPS though. Yeah, we just simply don't have the range and accuracy, in my opinion, to take full advantage of a zoom optic. If you're a sniper, I mean, sure, like what else are you gonna use? A red dot sight? Like, come on. Again, my favorite range is around 3x zoom. I find that perfect for confirming targets, IDing people, you know, seeing a bush and going, oh, is that a person? And zooming in and being like, oh no, okay, it's just a bush. It's kind of the perfect in between where it's, you know, not too much zoom. It's also, without some practice, gonna take you a little bit longer just to, you know, get on target and whatnot. With a zoom optic, with a red dot, you just pull up, you're down, you're shooting. So it is a bit easier to use a red dot as well. And this definitely does take some getting used to. But overall, I do think there are a lot of benefits that it does provide. I think it's really fun to use. You feel really, really cool. Again, it amplifies that recoil on this particular build. It's just overall really, really fun to use and really cool. And I just like the look as well. Kind of gives me like a DMR sniper kind of feel. But yeah, so overall, would I recommend people buying a zoom optic? I think it kind of depends on the role that you're playing, the event that you're at, the field you're at, a lot of things. If it's a heavily bushed field, even outdoors, where you know you're finding you're engaging people pretty close up, I just don't think it's really worth it, if I'm being honest. You can get faster target acquisition with a red dot and get on your targets quicker, and people are only a certain distance away. In real life too, past wars, they're using iron sights to take out people further away than we're even engaging with Airsoft. So you really don't need a zoom optic in terms of just engaging people for Airsoft. We just simply, again, don't have the range. But it is nice at times, for sure. If you want to play really stealthy, the way we were playing, again, confirm those targets, confirm those hits. It is kind of fun and kind of nice. So yeah, the choice is yours. It's just another tool at your disposal. If you are gonna get a zoom optic, I would highly suggest spending the money and getting a good one. With a red dot sight, it's just a piece of glass and it's crystal clear no matter what. zoom optic like this with variable zoom, you're gonna have issues if you're not getting a quality optic. And again, if you're using a GBBR like myself, or even an AEG, they can lose 0 over time. So definitely get a quality optic if you're going to go that route, would be my suggestion. But at the end of the day, I'm just a guy just talking on my couch, and these are just my thoughts. That's pretty much it, you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.